The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Doer has the world's most comfortable pants. Whoa, you must be thinking that's some big talk. But we know we can back it up. We've got 5 times the stretch of traditional denim and pants with zero compromise on style. Our performance fabric moves with you throughout the day, keeps you cool when the temps rise and warm when things get chilly. And did we mention how good they look? Once you try our pants, we know you'll agree. Use code DOER15 and get 15% off your first purchase. Check us out at shopduer.com or visit our stores in Vancouver, Toronto, Calgary, and Denver. Doer, for all you do in a day.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthma Core Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
you have smoked yourself retarded.
here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
Oh, happy belated 420. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron.
And yeah, I guess it was 420. It was also our anniversary. 7 years of doing this. Thanks to everybody who's listening. Did you have a good 420?
7 years. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. The first half of my 420 was fine, which as we're recording this was yesterday. And actually we were supposed to record on 420 originally. But the second half of my 420, I poisoned myself with some beef that I shouldn't have eaten. I should have tossed it. And I am too cheap and too bad at keeping track of my days.
You're like, I got one more day out of this. Your body said, no, no, you did not.
So I'm recovering and making up for it as well. I'm getting super stoned today to make up for feeling ill yesterday.
That's the spirit.
I did buy myself a bong to celebrate. I haven't had a bong in a while, actually.
You were just like, hey, I haven't had a bong in a while. Let's have a bong.
Well, I was noticing how fast I was going through my weed by rolling it into joints.
It's true. That'll happen.
So I didn't get anything extravagant. It was just a $30 bong.
Yeah.
Simple, nice thick glass, though.
Little basic bitch bong. Bitch bong.
Something that I don't have to keep a lot of water in. That even if I do knock it over, it's not going to be a huge deal.
Hey, everybody needs a good bong. It's been a while since I've had one. But then again, too, I mean, it's, analog weed. I went and bought some analog weed. I went celebrated the holiday. I ended up getting a good... I went right at when my dispensary opened because it went wreck. So... And I haven't been there in a while.
Oh, so the place is packed now.
So, yeah, I was like, all right, I'm going to get the jump.
They let the plebs in.
Yeah. I'm going to get the jump on all the traffic and get there early. Well, I wasn't the only person that... It wasn't packed, but I still had to sit and wait for 5 minutes, and there was 2 or 3 other guys ahead of me. So I went
and it took everything in you just to keep your monocle from popping out.
Yes. There was, I was, trying desperately to keep my hands off my pearls.
Yes.
Went in, hey, happy 420, what's going on today? What are you looking for? This is, got my cartridge, this and that. Flower, what do we got going on? Oh, yeah, well, it's, you get to drop a shelf today. I'm like, all right, cool. And they were like...
Drop a shelf?
Yeah, just, it's... you'd pay the price of the shelf. Like there was like a 6-shelf system they have set up. You just pay the price.
Like the Price is Right.
I guess, but you paid below. If you bought a $40 eighth, you were only going to pay like $30. Because the shelf below that's how they were working.
Right, I gotcha.
And they were like, oh, look at this one. It's called Red Pop. And it's 27% THC. I'm like, all right.
That's pretty high.
Yeah. And it was and it said an eighth, $20. I'm like, get that shit.
Oh,
But everything around it said eighth, $40. And, you know, they went to go give me it, and they're like, hold on, we haven't put it in the system yet. And I'm like, hey, just so you know, that tag says $20. I'm like, oh, yeah, for sure, you're getting that for $20. And then they're like, you sure that tag says $20? I'm like, yeah. The whole reason, and I sitting there thinking, I'm like, the reason I told you guys that is because everything around it says $40. Like, I'm pretty much trying to tell you, you mismarked this shit. And then they were fucking with the tag and trying to get the tag, and I pull it out because they were like, oh, yeah, $60. They were trying to be like, it's $60 for the eighth? I'm like, no, it says $20. Because when they were putting it in, they were trying to do that. They're like, you sure? And then they fucking with the tag, and then I pull it out and show them. They're like, oh, yeah, that says $20. You know, and she ends up asking it looked like it was the manager behind her. She's like, yeah, I gave it to him. But then immediately they go around and yank all the tags that they have around the whole dispensary. They're like, yeah, this stuff's not supposed to be $20 an eighth. I'm like, that's kind of, and I said, that's kind of why I told you guys, like, hey, that tag says $20.
Yeah. You may have, quote unquote, ripped them off, but you also, by pointing it out, saved them a lot of money.
I figured that's why I got it for $20. Like, this guy just saved us a fuck ton of money. Give him this for $20.
Yeah.
Because I caught it right at the beginning of the day, because it was like maybe 9:15. And I pulled in a parking lot at like 9:02. This place opened at 9. Like, I timed it out just right.
Because everybody else that's walking in behind you is going to do the same math. Oh, high THC, low dollar, I'll take that.
That's pretty much what I said, too. Like, win-win.
Yeah.
You know, and so I was like, all right, cool. Great 420. And then I smoked it. And I finished it during this show. I still have some, actually. Might be able to roll one more joint of this.
I didn't pick up anything on 420. I checked at my local dispensaries, and there are some decent deals, but nothing that was, like, outrageous.
Yeah, nothing where you're like, oh, my God, I got to take this deal because I'm never seeing this ever again. They had, like, you could get 4 half-gram resin carts, live resin carts, for $100. And I was like, well, that's a pretty good deal. And I almost pulled the trigger on that, and then I realized, that's not even the brand that I usually get. And if I get the brand that I usually get, they're $60 a gram. Yeah.
So I'm only saving $10 by buying it. That's not like a huge savings. And it's not even worth the savings to have something that's not the brand that I like, because
you don't know.
Right. I don't want to be stuck with now like 2 whole grams full of stuff that I'm like, why does this taste like fucking SpongeBob SquarePants asshole?
It's peculiar. This has a peculiar taste. What is this?
Yeah. Anything but like just weed. Why does this taste like anything but weed?
Yeah. I did get a goodie bag that had a tray in it and a free edible, a free 100 milligram edible.
Yeah, my place was giving out pre-rolls, but I don't have good experience from getting free pre-rolls from them. They tend to be shit quality.
And I got a yo-yo that I thought was a grinder.
Ooh.
I started pulling
a yo-yo?
I started pulling it apart. It does light up.
Ah, nice.
But yeah, I started pulling it apart. I'm like, oh, a grinder. And then I saw a string. I'm like, wait, no, this is a fucking yo-yo.
You're twisting it. It's just cracking apart. You're like, what? This thing doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. Why is this string getting all in my weed?
Do you know yo-yo tricks?
I used to be able to walk the dog, but that was like when I was like, 8.
I don't know. My boss at work has a yo-yo. Every once in a while he just pops up and starts yo-yoing around just to kind of, clear your mind.
Remember when like people who do yo-yo tricks were a thing? Remember?
Oh yeah.
When Tommy Smothers, late in his career, didn't he have a character called the Yo-Yo Man or something like that? And he did yo-yo tricks.
Did it? Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Are those guys still alive?
I think one of them is. I don't know.
Oh, if they're both still alive, you just killed one of the Smothers brothers.
In my early 20s, I had a glow-in-the-dark Rice Krispies branded yo-yo that I didn't send away for, but I believe somebody at some time had to send away some proof of purchases in order to get the access this rare item. I got it. I can't remember how I came across that device.
Oh, they are both still alive. You killed one of the Smothers brothers.
I just said that I thought maybe one of them was dead, but I was only basing that on likelihood. I mean, how old are they?
Yeah, but this is a nice deep pull for the 18 to 24s, by the way.
How old are the Smothers brothers?
It says 80 and 82, respectively.
Oh, wow. Not as old as I thought.
That's about right for what I thought. Because their heyday was like the 60s, right?
Yeah, and they were really young then. It's just that everybody looked old to us when we were kids.
It's true. If you were over 18, you might as well have been 40 in our book.
Of course, right after I purchased my bong, I started seeing advertisements for all these high-tech bongs that are out there today, like a $500 laser bong. The
Laser?
Hitaki Trident, very futuristic looking.
What is a laser bong? How does that even work?
It just has a laser, and then it uses a laser to vaporize the weed.
Nothing in this article says how it works. Just keep saying laser bong and it's cool.
I think there's a video in there that shows the guy like using it, and he actually like takes it apart and shows you how to load it. It doesn't look like it holds much. It's a pretty sizable device. It's I'd say about the size of a large dildo. Maybe, I guess.
Oh my
and
God.
It doesn't even hold that much.
Whoever wrote this article, I get it. You're 23. Jesus Christ.
What?
Are you reading this? Did you read any?
I just watched the video about it.
Their hook in the article is it's a freaking laser bong, and they've written it like 9 times already.
A freaking laser bong?
Yeah, like they keep repeating, it's a freaking laser bong. It's like their hook in the article.
Oh, it does look cool. There's a little window where you can look in and see this like blue laser shoot your weed and vaporize it. I mean, it really should be making a noise. They should add sound effects where it's like,
yeah. Give it the lightsaber sound effect.
Oh yeah, you could cycle through your sounds. Do you want standard laser? Do you want teleport sound effect? Do you want lightsaber?
It's $500. This is definitely for...
Yeah, it's $500. I can't imagine
for the
what
single stoner. The stoner without children, or the stoner who's doing well in life.
Oh, currently on sale for $424.
Ooh!
But you can get the 24 karat gold Trident for $650.
Because why not?
Don't worry. There's always a way where you can pay more.
This is America. There's always a way where you can pay more. Can you get your name engraved on the 24 karat and make it just an even $700?
Yeah. And apparently you can get a tube for it. So you can hit it more like a traditional bong and not have to have the hookah octopus arm coming off of it.
Because isn't this more like reading about it, it seems like it's more like a vaporizer than a bong.
Well, it still operates like a bong, right? It's got the water in the bottom part that filters the vaporized material.
Just no lighter?
So
a laser?
Yeah. I mean, that's all it's doing instead of having... It's just replacing the heating element, essentially. And it doesn't say anything about concentrates, but I don't see why you couldn't use this on concentrates as well. The only thing is because the laser has a very small focus to it, you can't really pack a ton in there. If you watch the video and the guy loads it, it's actually a very small bowl that he packs. Like, I think ideally this thing, and obviously this would be a much more expensive unit, but that little laser would just kind of make a little spiral path, and that would allow you to have you could pack a bigger bowl into there, and it could go around and kind of zap it.
Does it go?
You need some artificial intelligence. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it's like asteroids.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah. That's the bong of the future. You'd load the nuggets in at the top, and then they would drop down, and a laser would shoot them before they hit the bottom and vaporize it into smoke.
Engaging weed.
I hated that game. Were you any good at what? No, was that was Missile Command, not Asteroids. Missile Command was the one where they dropped down, and you'd place you'd shoot bombs in certain areas in order to blow up the missiles before they blew up your base.
Wasn't it the same skin? Same game,
no,
different
Asteroids,
skins?
Asteroids was the one where you were like looking down on a ship that you could spin around in space, and the asteroids would fly at you. You'd have to avoid them and shoot them. They'd break into smaller asteroids.
My Atari was very, very limited. I was a Nintendo kid. Atari was something like my older cousins had, and I played every now and then. So like I'm familiar with like some of the games and the concepts. You know, like I remember playing that god awful E.T. game.
Oh, that fucking E.T. game. You know, the story is true about there being like thousands of those dumped into a hole in the desert.
Wasn't it voted the worst video game of all time?
It was a disaster. It was all slapped together last minute.
Well, because you had to, right? You had to capitalize on that E.T. heat.
Well, it was hitting, like, E.T. came out at a time where the concept of doing video game tie-ins to movies was kind of new.
Literally, because
and
video
so it was
games
like
were new.
And it was a last minute request of like, hey, let's do a video game release. Like Spielberg wanted there to be a video game release that was simultaneous to the movie. Yeah, and everybody had that fucking game.
And it was awful. Is E.T. still as revered as it was when we were kids? Like, I remember E.T. came out on video, and the world fucking shit a brick when they finally put it on video cassette. Remember, we got it for Christmas that year. My parents were like, oh, yeah, E.T. Like, is there still that reverence for it?
I'm not sure. I mean, I can tell you that it holds up in the respect that my kids, when they were younger, have seen it and enjoyed the movie. But, you know, it's a kid's movie.
I remember seeing it and being like, yeah.
Oh, I definitely loved it at the time.
I remember it was one of the first times in my life having the feeling of, I don't see what the big deal is. It's not my favorite movie. I don't have fond memories of it. I'm like, oh man, E.T., that movie's great.
I think the best part about that movie to me was how much they actually didn't reveal about E.T. And
like,
it was a movie much like Close Encounters, you know, where you don't get all the answers, and that actually, you know, allows you to fill in with your imagination what was going on. You know, we don't know what E.T. was doing there, why he got left behind, why they, you know, why anything, where they came from. We don't even know if all the beings on E.T.'s planet look like E.T. For all we know, E.T. could have been their pet that they lost.
Yeah. How do we know that ending wasn't a kidnapping? Like some other aliens, like, oh yeah, that's one of ours, yeah. And then they fucking jack him. He's like an important, you know, maybe he's an important guy on his planet, and this was like a warring planet, and they came and took him.
He did go willingly, if I remember correctly. So I don't know. Were you into alien movies in general?
No.
Like The Last Starfighter?
The only one I ever liked was The Explorers.
Alien Nation?
With River Phoenix, Ethan Hawke. They turned a tilt-a-world into a spaceship.
Wait, what was it called?
The Explorers.
The Explorers. And it involved aliens?
Yeah. Because they ended up...
I don't remember that one.
They turned a tilt-a-whirl into a spaceship, and they were flying around, and the spaceship ended up pulling it into their tractor beam, and they got captured by these aliens, and the aliens were actually non-threatening aliens, they captured some humans because they wanted to talk to them because they had been intercepting human television signals for years, and they just thought all humans were like everything they'd been seeing on TV shows. And I'm saying River Phoenix and Ethan Hawke were like 12 in this movie, by the way.
So they turned a Ferris wheel into a spaceship.
Sir. A tilt-a-whirl.
They turned a tilt-a-whirl into a spaceship, and that happens before they met the aliens?
Yes. And it was named
the
Thunder Road.
Just as a couple of kids that knew science, and they were like, let's build a spaceship?
Yeah, River Phoenix his name was Wolfgang. He was the big nerd. He's like wearing he was funny. Like I said, they were like 11 and 12. River Phoenix was all fat. And he was the big science geek who knew how to do all that shit.
So I think when this movie was pitched to the execs, it was just a Venn diagram of E.T. and Weird Science.
Actually, kind of, yeah. Actually, now that when you mention it, yeah.
Or, all those movies that were like Weird Science and Real Genius, and there were others of like, extreme nerd behavior mixed with all of the alien movies. They're doing an Ancient Aliens feature film.
Oh, man, is that guy going to be in it?
You got to imagine that he's got to have something to do with it. I mean, it's going to be
I don't know what it means. Is he the host?
He's just one of the more eccentric guests that they get for the show.
Dude, he's a meme. He's got to be in it.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if this is going to be like a documentary. If it's actually, I mean, I don't know why you would do a feature film version of a documentary on Ancient Aliens. I mean, what could you do that you couldn't do in just an episode of Ancient Aliens for a lot cheaper?
Have that guy talk for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
I want this guy to have pages of monologues.
So, but they say that there's a script being written, so it sounds like it's going to be a piece of fiction. So maybe he would get to be like, guy number 2 in the crowd that's like, it's aliens! Yeah. Oh, Kevin Burns. I thought this was saying that the series was produced by Ken Burns. I read it as Ken Burns. I was like, Ken Burns didn't produce Ancient Aliens.
What if he did?
You just imagine them
really off the rails.
Talking about Ancient Aliens, and it's just like slowly panning over daguerreotypes. Like,
why is every episode 9 hours long?
No, it was Kevin Burns, who apparently died last year. 16 seasons of Ancient Aliens so far.
Wow.
How do you do 16 seasons?
We're getting old, man, and shit's been on for a while.
On not just aliens, specifically Ancient Aliens.
Fucking Keeping Up with the Kardashians has been on for like some kind of like, whenever I hear it, it's like, oh yeah, I guess it has been on that long. No, things are on for a long time now, man. We don't even realize it. That show's been on since 2006.
Yeah, but how do you come up with, each show's like an hour long, isn't it? That's over 200 episodes. Over 200 hours of programming about that one subject. Like, how are they not just repeating themselves constantly?
Aliens. That's how.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Introducing Peacock, the new free streaming service from NBC Universal. It's hit movies, current shows, live sports, trending bits, and timeless hits. And that's why you can't not watch. Peacock. Watch for free. Upgrade for more. Stream now at peacocktv.com. Law & Order SVU streaming now.
Doer has the world's most comfortable pants. Whoa, you must be thinking that's some big talk. But we know we can back it up. We've got 5 times the stretch of traditional denim and pants with zero compromise on style. Our performance fabric moves with you throughout the day, keeps you cool when the temps rise and warm when things get chilly. And did we mention how good they look? Once you try our pants, we know you'll agree. Use code DOER15 and get 15% off your first purchase. Check us out at shopduer.com or visit our stores in Vancouver, Toronto, Calgary, and Denver. Doer, for all you do in a day.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Doer has the world's most comfortable pants. Whoa, you must be thinking that's some big talk, but we know we can back it up. We've got 5 times the stretch of traditional denim and pants with zero compromise on style. Our performance fabric moves with you throughout the day, keeps you cool when the temps rise and warm when things get chilly. And did we mention how good they look? Once you try our pants, we know you'll agree. Use code DOER15 and get 15% off your first purchase. Check us out at shopduer.com or visit our stores in Vancouver, Toronto, Calgary, and Denver. Doer, for all you do in a day.
ChristopherMedia.net.
The Weedsman Podcast.
Dude, because it's a concept that has been around like as long as humans have been around, right? So I'm sure there's just plenty of, and then there's plenty of nut jobs out there.
Well, it's a concept that we're constantly fascinated with, too. I mean, look at in fiction, there's always some form of alien comedy on the screen. The most current one would be Solar Opposites. But, prior to that, there's all kinds of shit like Third Rock from the Sun, Alien Nation. I know that was a drama, but still it played a lot of, it was a healthy amount of fish out of water jokes in there. The Coneheads.
My Favorite Martian. That was a show in the fucking 50s.
Right, because the alien allows you to get a complete outsider's perspective on how weird human life is. So you get to do, aliens are perfect for Seinfeld-style observational humor.
Yeah. What is the deal with blank?
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, in Solar Opposites, they start out every episode. Have you watched the show?
I don't even know what it is.
Solar Opposites is from Justin Roiland and what's his name? It's people who made Rick and Morty, and it has a very similar animation style and cadence to it.
Dan Harmon, that guy, the Community guy.
Yeah, but I can't remember if Dan Harmon's involved in Solar Opposites as well. It might be both of them. I can't remember. But yeah, it's on Hulu. They had just dropped its second season. The first season was okay. It was a charming show. It wasn't like horrendously funny. Second season, I think, shows a lot more promise. But yeah, at the beginning of each episode, they do their intro that, where the main character kind of explains where they came from, why they're on Earth, and then expresses how much he hates it here because everything's so confusing. And then there's always a line added in there at some point. They'll do something about what's so confusing to him. I'm trying to think of what a good example of one of them is. Oh, he says, I hate it here. This place is so confusing. They eat animals, but not just any animal. Like there's certain animals that you're not supposed to eat. That doesn't make any sense. Why eat animals at all? Something like that. I'm butchering the line.
I get the point.
And there's a consistent B plot that runs through both seasons so far, which involves one of the characters, one of the aliens, has a habit of shrinking down humans that annoy him and throwing the humans in his terrarium that he has built into the wall in his bedroom.
Oh, wow.
And so he has quite a number of people in this thing, and they have their own society. And so they will constantly cut to the terrarium to show us what kind of drama is going on inside that world. And in that, they don't even really write jokes for those scenes. Those scenes are all played super straight, and all the jokes are about, what they're using for clothes or whatever. Like there's
this is a cartoon.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, like same animators that are, or I would imagine the same animators that are doing Rick and Morty. It has the same style and everything.
Gotcha.
But yeah, there's like some characters they are put to death and they make them go inside of a giant bong and they seal them in there. One of them even says, "No, don't put the carb in." And then they pour a magic shell into the bong and it like encases them in chocolate and suffocates them.
Death by magic shell. Be a delicious death.
I think there'd be worse ways to go.
Yeah.
Although, magic shell does not harden on skin. Your body's too warm.
Yeah, magic shell needs cold.
Yeah.
So with that though, is there a lot of Han Solo and Carbonite humor?
No, see, that's the thing, because this scene takes place inside the wall that all the miniature humans are in. There's not really gags written for that. Like all the gags are the scenery and the environment that they live in, but it's hard to explain because it's played really serious. Like there's a murder investigation. There's like this whole drama about this faction of people that are trying to get outside of the wall. So the joke there is more of how serious they're playing the drama of the miniature humans.
Gotcha.
While they're also like milking mice and walking around ladybugs as pets and exploring the mushroom forest. So what else? I mean, we had 420. Did we talk about 420? I mean, what's there to say? We've talked about all the stories about where the name supposedly comes from, and it doesn't really even matter, does it? It's kind of like when people explain to you why Christmas is the day it is, and you're like, that's fine, but it's that day now because we all just agree on it, and we need to agree on a day where Christmas happens.
I feel like we're being like we're being such Gen Xers right now. We're like 420, man, whatever. Cool.
Yeah, I'm beyond it.
Yeah. I don't need an excuse, man. It's 420 every day when you're a weedsman. Did you see the House pass some cannabis banking rules?
Oh, okay. I was wondering what the rest. Did I see the House?
Sorry, I
an episode.
I had my joint in the middle of that sentence.
No, the House did. What did the House do? What did the House to do? It. I have this tagged here somewhere because I did see it. Did I?
Basically, if it's legal where you are, and you are a legal cannabis business, then you don't get the federal designation. I'm high. The story explains it better.
The House passed a cannabis banking bill. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. So they passed a bill that said that basically sales of cannabis would not be considered illegal, and therefore that should open up the banks to be able to approve these transactions without fear of blowback from the feds for, perceived money laundering is essentially what the bank is looking at it as, because it's proceeds from an illegal sale.
So, I mean, then the Senate should pass it. I mean, they're both in control by blue right now, so if the House passed it, the Senate should pass it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess this is essentially saying that if the state considers the sale to be illegal, then the federal government will consider the sale to be illegal.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a better way to do this, federal government, and that's just to say that the sale of cannabis is not illegal.
Then
period.
They can't look like...
End of story.
No, but they piecemeal it up. They look like they do more. Don't you see?
I guess. Yeah, right.
No, if we do 9 things instead of doing one thing that does everything, then we look like we've done more.
However, they need to subdivide the task into easier, bite-sized morsels that the general American public can keep down better. I guess.
But I did see,
whatever it takes.
I didn't click on it, but I saw something where essentially the headline said that Chuck Schumer said by spring of next year they're going to be voting on legal cannabis.
That is what Schumer is saying, yes.
But it's also Chuck Schumer. He says a lot of things. I mean,
yeah, he said he hopes to see an end to the drugs prohibition by next year's 420.
That's cool, man. Whatever. I mean, you know, you got the House, the Speaker of the House talking about 420. So, I mean, that's, dude, again, if I could get in a time machine and go back to 18-year-old me, I'd be like, dude, holy shit. Just hold on. Just wait. Shit's coming way faster than you think. So that's cool. Did you see Gretchen Whitmer's tweet yesterday, by the way? We're talking about politicians trying to be cool with weed.
No, I didn't. What did she have to say about it?
She just did the typical, she did a weed joke in her tweet. She wanted to be blunt and then talked about how products purchased at Michigan dispensaries or something provide tax dollars. She did the thing that we hate. She did a weed pun.
She did a weed pun on 420.
Yeah.
Well, hey, look.
Yeah, again, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
a politician made a weed joke and nobody called for her head.
Yeah.
So
there's different things to call for her head for anyway.
Well, yeah, no, you're right. People, I'm sure, still called for her head, but just not for those reasons.
Yeah, but yeah, the fact that the Speaker of the House is talking about 420, yeah, you got a governor making, you know, a weed pun on 420 on Twitter. You know, I guess we're heading in the right direction, kids. This is what I'm saying. Way faster than I thought we would be.
We're heading in the direction of our cities reeking of weed and crawling with unstable potheads.
Oh, wait, no, we're not, because that's not happening.
Right. I can't remember. Did we talk about this story? This was an opinion piece that was in the New York Post, and this was dated back in April 15th. So this has been right after New York City approved legalization. And the headline is "Get ready for an NYC reeking of weed and crawling with unstable potheads" by one Mr. Seth Barron.
Well, for starters, if you've been to New York City, smelling like weed would be an improvement.
Yeah. That's what I hear.
You know what weed smells better than? Garbage and human waste. Have you ever smelled hot garbage and human waste mixed together, Aaron? I have. Holy shit. Fuck that shit.
You should be so lucky as to have your place smell like weed rather than that. Potheads light up with abandon, he says. NYPD has instructed officers to ignore the possession, burning, and even the open sale of up to 3 ounces of weed. No, they didn't. There was nothing about. First of all, 3 ounces is not the max. Maybe he's right on that. Maybe it is 3 ounces. But if somebody just like walks up to somebody else on the street in front of a couple cops and whips out 3 ounces of weed and sells it to another person, that's an illegal transaction. And the cops would not ignore that. And also the public consumption of it's not legal, and the cops have not been asked to ignore it.
It's the same reason you can't just whip out a beer and drink it. But I would also say to this person, if they did, so what? It's New York City. They got other shit to do. Someone's being murdered a few blocks away.
Right. That's what's really ridiculous about it. I mean, not only is he starting off his opinion piece with a lie, that lie, even if we were to take it as true, is still so what?
Yeah.
Some New Yorkers may recall a time not too long ago when even the sale of bongs, he puts in quotes. I don't know why you need quotes around bongs. I mean, that is what they're called.
Yeah, no, it's in the dictionary. It's a word.
Yeah. and other pot paraphernalia was essentially banned in the Big Apple. Now, quote unquote, smoke shops, again, they're just a thing, are everywhere. The fruits of progress, don't you know?
That's commerce, baby. That is capitalism. Supply and demand. They're only there because people want them there. Trust me, rent in that fucking city is ridiculous.
He then goes on to state that apparently, well, he says people are quick to point out that prohibition doesn't work. This person seems to think that the Volstead Act drove alcohol consumption down to 70% of pre-prohibition levels. Yeah, I don't think that that's true. I mean, everything that I've read about that time is that consumption remained just as high. It just went completely underground.
Yeah. There's a reason they ended prohibition, because it wasn't working.
And also, it went so widespread underground. I mean, not just...
That's where the mob came from, is prohibition.
Well, right, but outside of the mob, just, people were just like, fuck you, government. I've got my own still. Like, you can't, I live on a farm out in the middle of nowhere. You're going to tell me I can't make my moonshine?
Organized crime in America came from prohibition. Didn't exist before then.
I mean, maybe the government had numbers that showed that they drove consumption down 70%, but how do you even get those numbers? How do you know what people are doing on their private property on their own time?
You don't. You're just making assumptions.
And then goes on to talk about Bloomberg's nanny state ban of sugary drinks and indoor smoking. Well, I don't know.
People told Bloomberg were to get fucked on that drink thing. That drink thing didn't last long. And indoor smoking, that's just the way the winds have been blowing forever.
Yeah.
I mean, in Michigan, it was 2008, 2009? I mean, we were one of the last states to the party. We almost made it to 2010.
And even to this day, there's places that you can go where, people just smoke. They'll give you, they won't provide an ashtray because that makes it look like they were encouraging the smoking, but you can use a paper cup with some water in it to ash in. And then if the cops do come in and cause a fuss, they're like, look, my patrons just started smoking. I told them they're not allowed to, but they didn't listen.
I knew of bars where they were just, if you want to smoke, pay us pay a couple bucks or whatever. It's to help cover the fine if we get caught. Like, all right.
Right.
Or definitely when I was a DJ, after the doors were locked, hey, guess what? We were all smoking in there.
Advocates laugh at the idea that marijuana is a gateway drug. He puts in quotes. I don't know why he's putting so many things in quotes. These are actual terms. But he's not quoting anyone either. And then ends that, so he says, advocates laugh at the idea that marijuana is a gateway drug, period. New sentence, but find one serious drug addict who didn't start out on pot. I'll wait.
A lot of them. They're starting out on prescription drugs nowadays. They're fuckface.
There's plenty of them.
There's a lot of heroin addicts who started with getting Vicodin from their fucking doctor. Ass face.
And what would that statistic tell you anyway? Especially if you don't balance it against the number of people who have tried pot and no other drug, or have tried pot and maybe have experimented with other drugs but didn't really have any issues, just, not my thing.
There's a lot of people slamming heroin who started with oxy prescriptions.
Right. But if you don't compare that to statistics of how many people have tried cannabis, use cannabis, and have no drug problems, then that number is completely useless.
It's the New York Post, though. He's got to be on the right. It's part of the shtick. Never mind public opinion on legalized marijuana. I believe while we've been doing this podcast in the last 7 years, the scales have tipped over the 50. It's now in the majority.
I don't understand this one either. He starts off a new paragraph with and the social justice implications of legalizing pot are seriously overstated.
He started a sentence with a sentence fragment. You can't do that.
It is a fond myth that the drug war, a fond myth. It's a weird turn of phrase. It is a fond myth that the drug war, quote unquote, again, has locked up thousands of people for smoking a joint. In fact, the city jail system has typically held an average of one person a day on pot possession charges.
Well, cite your source on that statistic.
I
Holmes.
do not even understand what that statistic is supposed to mean, and he cites no source, and he doesn't even say what city jail system.
He's trying to
he
say
just
it's
says
only one a day.
The city jail system, like the whole, all across America.
Well, no, he's trying to, New York City, because this is about New York, right? But still, dude, that's still 365 people a year. He's trying to be like, it's only one person a day. It's still 400 people a year, man.
I mean, you could imply, I guess, from context that he is talking about New York, but he's talking in other places about, what's happening in Colorado and California and all. So I don't know. And he's trying to use examples all over the U.S. to back up his story. So I don't know. He could be pulling this completely out of his ass. But what does that even tell you? Average of one person a day? The city jail system has typically held an average of one person a day on pot possession charges. So you're saying that at any given time, the average is going to be one person in jail for pot possession. That seems really unlikely.
He's talking about New York City, because
even if you're just looking at one prison in New York, that would seem rather unlikely.
Well, my whole thing in reading this thing, I would be like, all right, dude, I get it. You don't like pot. And I would just stop reading. Like, all right, the part of my brain would kick in like, all right, this isn't a balanced take. I'm out. Like,
yeah.
All right, dude, get it. You don't like the reefer. Noted. Did you see that Steve Urkel came out with his own weed?
He says, one more quote from this. Proponents of pot have long insisted that weed is wondrous medicine and can treat or cure everything from nausea to epilepsy to lupus to insomnia with zero side effect or risk of overdose. Again, that's really an exaggeration of claims and not really all that accurate. But does it make sense that a powerful medicine could also be harmless? ? Sounds like a snake oil pitch.
Is that what he wrote?
That's what he wrote.
Sounds like a snake oil pitch?
Yeah, and doesn't provide anything else. Like, doesn't expand on that at all.
One word rebuttal to that. Oxycontin, shut up. Okay, that's like a 3-word rebuttal. But like, there's plenty of fucking legal medicines that they have to regulate because people could fuck themselves up on them if they're used in the wrong way. I'm high right now and you sound high.
Yeah, if you want to talk about promoting medicines as having no side effects, I mean, that's what all these lawsuits against OxyContin are about. Because the drug company pushed the drug as having no side effects and being non-addictive, which clearly both are not true.
Yes. They lied and they knew it. Now they're going to pay.
So anyway, Urkel, did he do that? Did he release a weed line?
Yeah, Jaleel White, and it's called Purple Urkel. And they had made a video with him and Snoop Dogg. And they were smoking it together.
Nice.
I'm not sure where you can get it or when it's coming out.
It's the year of purple, huh? They dropped that new purple iPhone.
Yeah, I saw that today. Why? Why did that have to be, of all the things they announced, like nice purple color. iPhone? Like, it just, that seemed like the announcement that was out of place in that thing today or yesterday.
Oh, I guess we're done, huh?
Yes, in more ways than one.
We are done.
Yes. So follow us on Facebook. Or no, wait. You like us on Facebook and you follow us on Twitter.
Yes, you like us. You're like hypnotic suggestion. You like us on Facebook.
No, you have to use each platform's terminology. And then, Instagram is there. Since I can't post pictures of weed, I don't know what you can do with it. There's only so many weed memes. But email the Weedsman Podcast, ChristopherMedia.net, if you would like to drop us a line that way. And then go to ChristopherMedia.net, hit the Amazon banner, hit the PayPal button if you want to help us out. And then Apple Podcasts. Apparently you're going to you will not have to, but you can now pay for podcasts on Apple. And we will never do that. I'll never say never, but for now, we're not going to do that. You can listen to us for free there. You can listen to us for free on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, everywhere there's a podcast. Where there's YouTube, you listen to us there. So, yeah, stay high.
Stay high.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Doer has the world's most comfortable pants. Whoa, you must be thinking that's some big talk. But we know we can back it up. We've got 5 times the stretch of traditional denim and pants with zero compromise on style. Our performance fabric moves with you throughout the day, keeps you cool when the temps rise and warm when things get chilly. And did we mention how good they look? Once you try our pants, we know you'll agree. Use code DOER15 and get 15% off your first purchase. Check us out at shopduer.com or visit our stores in Vancouver, Toronto, Calgary, and Denver. Doer, for all you do in a day.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.